But meanwhile, in Metropolis, Superman and Hawkgirl continue their fight. They don't seem to be having any effect on Godzilla, so Hawkgirl goes in for another strike, but at that moment, Godzilla takes her out with a swipe of his massive claw. She tumbles through the air, but there's a crack of lightning as Shazam flies out of the air, catching her. Not going well, I take it? He says with a smile. Superman thanks his friend and flies up to punch Godzilla in the jaw with all of his strength. But Godzilla merely glares at the heroes. That doesn't look good, Shazam notes as Godzilla's eyes and mouth begin to glow. You're probably wondering how we got here. Well, this is the story where the Justice League is fighting against Godzilla and King Kong. In our last chapter, Superman was taking a vacation to propose to Lois, while the Legion of Doom was looking for a way to fight the heroes. The Legion found a mysterious item, and Toyman decided to keep it. Shortly after that, Godzilla rose out of the ocean to stand before Superman, who was no longer on his vacation. This is Comicstorian. We take comic books, turn them into audio dramas so that you know what to add to your collection by going to your local comic book store. If you enjoy this type of content, support us on Patreon, patreon.com/Comicstorian, or check out our sister channel, Comicstorian Full Story, or you can find us on Spotify. Let's move into issue 2. Superman swoops forward, floating to a stop before the mighty Godzilla. I don't know if you can understand me, but your presence is a danger to the people of Metropolis. So let's take whatever this is somewhere else. The Great Titan merely glares at him before opening its mouth, a deep blue beginning to well in its eyes and its throat. But Superman suddenly launches forward, punching the Titan, knocking it back. I warned you, big guy. Now I really need to get you out of the city, Superman says as he launches forward, but Godzilla moves with amazing speed, swatting the Man of Steel aside with its tail. He gets knocked across the city, thrown through several buildings until he finally comes to a stop. Sorry about that, is anyone hurt? He asks a stunned office. But in a blur of red and lightning, the Flash is suddenly standing by Superman's side as the last son of Krypton gets to his feet. The rest of the team is on the way. That's a really big thing out there, Superman. Superman nods, launching himself back at the Titan, as Flash tries to negotiate where to bring the survivors. Meanwhile, the rest of the Justice League is flying towards the city, having just left the Fortress of Solitude. But Batman comes across the League comms, informing them that Metropolis isn't the only city under attack. Massive creatures have been spotted in Central City, Gotham, and Themyscira. He directs the teams to different locations. Hawkgirl will continue going to Metropolis, while Flash, Green Lantern, and Supergirl will speed towards Central City. Wonder Woman and Green Arrow are going to head to Themyscira. Batman then launches the Batwing, informing the team, Gotham is under control. The rest of the Bat family chime in as they are racing across the city, not overly worried about the giant bat monster they're about to fight. I'll join you. I'm heading to Gotham City now, Cyborg says, rocketing across the sky. Black Canary revs her motorcycle's engine as she speeds across the bridge into the city. Count me in, 3 minutes out, she informs the Dark Knight. Meanwhile, Wonder Woman and Green Arrow are flying over the ocean towards the Amazon's home, but they look down and are surprised to see a strange island where there shouldn't be one. The heroes float down and they notice the prehistoric plant life. Ominous. Could it have something to do with the giant monsters? Green Arrow asks, smiling. And he tells Wonder Woman that she'll have to deal with the giant monster without him. I don't know that I'll be able to come back to you, Diana points out, but Ollie shrugs. It's fine. Not my first deserted island. Meanwhile, in the secret base of the Legion of Doom, Black Manta and Cheetah are trying to monitor the situation after they've all reappeared back in the real world. They discuss how they were all wished to different parts of the world by Toyman. Black Manta explains that Toyman stole the Dreamstone from the Fortress of Solitude, which is how they all appeared here alongside the monsters. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? Cheetah wonders. But over in LexCorp, Lex Luthor awakens with a start as Mercy rushes in his office. Lex, when did you arrive? She asks as she rushes to his side. Lex, still groggy, looks out the window to see Superman fighting against Godzilla. Toyman, Lex hisses as he narrows his eyes, looking at Mercy, ordering her down into the bunker. I need a full download of what's happening out there. Meanwhile, back in the city, Superman and Hawkgirl are still fighting against the massive creature. She swoops in, smashing it with her mace, but the mighty Titan barely flinches. Wow, that was an A swing. Tough lizard, Hawkgirl says to Superman. Back in Gotham City, the great Bat Titan is swooping down, but Batwoman has arrived in her own jet and she begins to open fire. As Kate and Batman swoop around it in their jets, they continue to blast the creature. The Bat Titan whirling in the air, firing a sonic blast at the twin jets, damaging several buildings, sending debris down to the streets. Sonic-based monster. That's the information that we need. We can lure it away from the city. Batman snaps over the radio as he dodges another blast. He orders the team to help the civilians on the street while he and Batwoman continue to fight the monster in the air. But Red Hood isn't listening. Sitting up in a nearby building, he lines up a shot with a very big sniper rifle. I hear what you're saying, but I'm not one of your birds you can boss around. I'm taking the shot. You know I can do it. The rest of the Bat family rushes towards Red Hood. They order him not to open fire, but Jason ignores them, pulling the trigger. Nighty-night, monster. He quips. The round speeds through the air, and it hits the monster directly in its massive eye. It bellows in pain. It whirls around, staring at the Red Hood, and then it fires another sonic screech, destroying the building that Jason is crouched on. He manages to leap away just in time, but the debris crumbles towards the civilians below. There's too many people! Batgirl shouts out, so Nightwing nods as he rushes forward. Save as many as you can! But that's when there's a rev of a motorcycle and Black Canary appears, blasting the debris aside with her canary cry. Perfect timing, Batgirl says with a smile, and everyone whirls on Jason, yelling at him for being reckless, but he brushes it off, with Batgirl walking up, knocking him out with a single punch. Needed to be done, she says, looking at the family. Batman gets back on the comms. Team, if you're finished horsing around, he begins to say, and at that moment, Cyborg arrives, with Batman directing them all to create a sonic frequency weapon using Cyborg's tech and Canary's power. Batman continues to distract the creature while the team works, until Batwoman flies through the air with Black Canary and the weapon strapped to the back of her jet. Batman gets the creature's attention with another missile strike, but that's when the monster blasts him with its sonic screech. The Batwing is being damaged and destroyed, so he ejects, parachuting to the city below. Batwoman then barrels her jet straight at the creature, and Canary screeches into the sonic amplifier that Cyborg made. The blast hits the monster, knocking it unconscious. It then begins to fall out of the sky, slamming into Gotham City Park. Meanwhile, Batman walks away from the carnage like a badass, not even looking back. Well done, everyone, he growls over the comms. But meanwhile, in Metropolis, Superman and Hawkgirl continue their fight. They don't seem to be having any effect on Godzilla, so Hawkgirl goes in for another strike, but at that moment, Godzilla takes her out with a swipe of his massive claw. She tumbles through the air, but there's a crack of lightning as Shazam flies out of the air, catching her. Not going well, I take it? He says with a smile. Superman thanks his friend and flies up to punch Godzilla in the jaw with all of his strength. But Godzilla merely glares at the heroes. That doesn't look good, Shazam notes as Godzilla's eyes and mouth begin to glow. A massive energy blast erupting from the Titan's mouth, but Superman meets it with a blast of heat vision, and a battle of energy begins, going back and forth. But Shazam knows that Superman can't last forever. He flies towards the Titan, an idea springing into his head. He lands on Godzilla's head and speaks the magic word, Shazam! Magic lightning leaps out of the sky, striking Godzilla, stunning the creature for mere seconds. But now it's Billy Batson, the small child, falling out of the sky. Superman swoops in, grabbing the kid. That was awesome! He shouts with joy, but Superman shakes his head. No, it was too risky. Don't ever do that again. Both heroes then look back, though, realizing Godzilla has already recovered. The monster opens its mouth, firing another blast. Superman shields Billy from the attack, but the blast knocks them both out of the sky. They plummet to the city below, with Superman's body smoking from the radioactive energy. Billy looks up as Godzilla begins to stomp forward. He reaches out, trying to rouse the Man of Steel. Superman, you gotta wake up! He shouts. And the second issue of Justice League vs. Godzilla is concluded. If you want to know what's happening, check out your local store or subscribe to the channel. Either way, this is to be continued.